For pretty much all of human history, we've seen aging as this, well, an unavoidable fact of life, right? A one-way street that everybody has to walk down. But what if that's all wrong? What if aging is less of a fact and more of a biological process? A process that, for the first time, we're really starting to understand, and maybe, just maybe, even reverse.
So let's just dive right in with a question that might challenge everything you think you know about getting older. I want you to really consider this. What if aging isn't some destiny we just have to accept, but a condition? A condition that we can actually treat. That one single shift in perspective is driving an absolute revolution in medicine. And the stakes here, well, they couldn't be any higher. This number, 40%, it's not just some abstract statistic, it's personal. We're talking about a 40% lifetime risk of getting cancer, and a nearly 40% risk of dementia if you live to be 85. Now, these aren't separate random bolts of lightning from the sky. No, they are deeply, fundamentally connected to the process of aging itself.
And that right there is the crucial point. We tend to think about things like cancer and diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's as all these separate problems. But the new science is telling us they all share a common root: aging. Aging is the soil that all of these awful conditions grow from. So instead of trying to fight each disease one by one, what if we could just treat the soil itself? To treat that soil, scientists first had to become detectives. They needed to crack aging's fundamental code, to find the specific biological drivers that are actually causing our bodies to decline in the first place.
For the longest time, our definition of aging was frankly kind of useless for medicine. It was just this vague idea of, well, things fall apart over time. But now we have a completely new understanding. Aging isn't some grand mystery anymore. It's a collection of specific, measurable processes. And here's the kicker. If you can measure something, you can start to figure out how to influence it.
And these processes are what scientists call the hallmarks of aging. Think of them as the key clues in our big detective story. They include things like damage to our DNA, this constant low-grade inflammation that researchers have brilliantly dubbed inflammaging, and the buildup of these things called senescent or zombie cells that just refuse to die and cause all sorts of problems. For this explainer, though, we're going to zero in on one of the most critical clues of all. So, let's really focus our investigation on one of those key hallmarks, a prime suspect in the case against aging, because understanding this one piece is key to figuring out how we might actually be able to turn back the clock.
So, what in the world are telomeres? Honestly, the best analogy, the one everyone uses because it's perfect, is the little plastic tip on your shoelace. You know that little thing that stops the lace from unraveling? Well, telomeres do the exact same thing for our chromosomes. They protect our incredibly precious genetic code from fraying every single time a cell divides. They are absolutely essential.
But here's the problem. They act like a countdown clock. Every time one of our cells divides, those telomeres get just a little bit shorter. Now, our bodies have a maintenance crew, an enzyme called telomerase, or TERT, that works to repair them. But as we get older, our TERT levels just plummet. And when those telomeres get critically short, it sends out a massive danger signal, basically telling the cell to stop dividing and enter this old dysfunctional state.
This discovery led to this breathtakingly simple yet incredibly profound question. If the drop in this one single enzyme, TERT, is what kicks off this whole disastrous cascade of aging, what would happen if we could just restore it? Could we effectively reboot the entire system?
Now that question wasn't just hypothetical. It led to a truly groundbreaking experiment in mice, one designed to see if reversing aging was actually possible by targeting this one specific mechanism. The first step was finding the right tool for the job, and this was a massive undertaking. Researchers screened about 1 million different chemical compounds, looking for something that could safely boost those TERT levels back up to what they were in youth. And they found it, a molecule they named TAC, for TERT activator compound.
Okay, so here's how the experiment worked. They didn't start with young mice. No, they waited until the mice were 22 months old, which is basically the equivalent of a human in their 70s. Then, they treated them with this TAC compound for 6 months and looked at the results when the mice were 28 months old, or the equivalent of a 90-year-old person. They weren't trying to prevent aging, they were trying to reverse aging that was already well underway.
And the results? They weren't just noticeable, they were, as the researchers put it, striking. In the brains of the treated mice, the growth of new neurons, something that just stops in old age, was fully restored. Those destructive zombie cells, they were eliminated.
System-wide inflammation went down, and their muscle strength actually went up. It was a system-wide rejuvenation. It was incredible.
This illustrates that core idea perfectly, right? If aging is the soil for disease, could treating aging also treat one of its most devastating outcomes? So to find out, the researchers ran the test again, this time on a mouse model of Alzheimer's disease. And the results? They were just as profound.
One of the main hallmarks of Alzheimer's is the buildup of amyloid plaques. It's this protein gunk that just clogs up the brain and destroys neurons. And look at this. The mice that were treated with tax had a massive reduction in these destructive plaques compared to the untreated mice.
And it wasn't just the plaques. A major co-conspirator in Alzheimer's is neuroinflammation, when the brain's own immune cells get angry and start causing damage. In the TAC-treated mice, this dangerous inflammation was also largely quieted down. So the treatment was tackling the disease on two critical fronts at the exact same time.
So what does all of this mean for us, for the future of human health? This research is pointing toward a radical shift in how we approach medicine, and really how we live our entire lives. For the most part, right now, we practice sick care. We wait until a disease like cancer or Alzheimer's shows up, and then we react to it, trying to fix what's already broken. But this new science is opening the door to proactive medicine. The goal is no longer just to extend lifespan, but to increase our health span, the number of healthy, vibrant years we get to live, by intercepting disease right at its source, which is aging itself.
This is the powerful idea at the very heart of all this. Aging is not some mystical, inevitable fate. It's biology. And as one of the lead researchers, Dr. Ronald DePino, puts it, biology can fall to the axe of science. Disease can bend to the axe of science. It's just an incredible message of optimism and empowerment.
Look, this research isn't really about mice in a lab. It's about a future where being in your 90s could mean you're still playing basketball with your grandkids, not just watching from a chair. It opens up this whole new horizon of possibility. So I'll leave you with this final thought. If we actually succeed in extending our health span, what will you do with those extra healthy decades? How would you spend a longer, healthier life?